I am Zal Bacalian. Today is my second week of school. Taking up again my biology class, which I found totally boring. Doing those school works really made me sick.
Today we will going to discuss about deductive and inductive reasoning. Phoebe, any idea about what is inductive reasoning?
For my own explanation, inductive reasoning is about from simple to general observation or theory.
Okay, very good. It is also called bottom-up. It starts from observation and then goes to pattern, tentative hypothesis, and then theory. We end up developing some general conclusion or theories from specific observation.
Since I guess we already understand what it's about, what is inductive reasoning, let's proceed to the second part, which we call deductive reasoning. Miss Phoebe, any idea about what is deductive reasoning?
Deductive reasoning is opposite to the inductive reasoning, which is from general observations to specific observations.
Thank you, Miss Phoebe. Deductive reasoning is also called the outline approach. Because we start from the top to the very specific. We start from theory, then go to the hypothesis, then the observation, and then to the confirmation. We can also say that we work from more general to the more specific, but like what we said. It also leads us to test the hypothesis with specific data. Okay, since you're ready finish discussing about deductive and inductive reasoning, I want you to take Charles Darwin's theory as an assignment at the same time application about what we have discussed. And the deadline will be tomorrow. Don't forget, deadline. And if you get that pass, it would be your deadline. Okay, class, do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Very good.
Oh. Where are they?
Charles Darwin was born on February 12, 1809 at Shrewsbury, England. His father was a medical doctor, and his mother died when he was 8. Darwin was not a brilliant student as a child. School to him, though, was entirely a blank, but he went on to university at Edinburgh, Scotland, at first intending to become a doctor. Darwin took a strong dislike to medical education and eventually studied at Cambridge. He planned to become a minister before becoming intensely interested in botany. He received a degree in 1831.
Voyage of the Beagle. On the recommendation of a college professor, Darwin was accepted to travel on the second voyage of the HMS Beagle. The ship was embarking on a scientific expedition to South America and the islands of the South Pacific, leaving in late December 1831. The Beagle returned to England nearly 5 years later, in October 1836. Darwin spent more than 500 days at sea and about 1,200 days on land during the trip. He studied plants, animals, fossils, and geological formations and wrote his observations in a series of notebooks. During long periods at sea, he recognized his notes.
Publication of Darwin's masterpiece. Darwin's reputation as a naturalist and geologist had grown throughout the 1840s and 1850s, yet he had not revealed his ideas about natural selection widely. Friends urged him to publish them in the late 1850s, and it was publication of an essay by Alfred Russel Wallace expressing similar thoughts that encouraged Darwin to write a book setting out his own ideas. In July 1858, Darwin and Wallace appeared together at the Linnean Society of London, and in November 1859, Darwin published the book that secured his place in history, On the Origin of Species by Means of Natural Selection.
Darwin inspires controversy. Charles Darwin was not the first person to propose that plants and animals adapt to circumstances and evolve over aeons of time. But Darwin's book put forth his hypothesis in an accessible format and led to controversy. Darwin's theories had an almost immediate impact upon religion, science, and society at large.
As later life, On the Origin of Species was published in several editions, with Darwin periodically editing and updating material in the book. And while society debated Darwin's work, he lived a quiet life in the English countryside, content to conduct botanical experiments. He was highly respected, regarded as a grand old man of science. When he died in 1881, he was honored by being buried in Westminster Abbey in London.
The present is the key to the past. That that is, that currently operating geological forces are sufficient to explain all of geological history.
Off we go. Captain Fitzroy.
I don't think that science would be where it is today if it wasn't for Darwin.
He wanted to know how the whole of the natural world interconnected.
Hundreds of miles.
One of the astonishing things about Darwin's thinking was the way that he always asked questions. And we can see it from an incredibly early age that he always wanted to know things.
Darwin was a man who I think was always prepared to keep looking at things, not to rule things out.
As scientists, we have to be really careful because it's very easy to get locked in by your ideas or by the search image that you have when you go in the field.
I think if he was here today, he would be very disappointed in the evidence for his whole theory of evolution.
The demonstration that bench evolution could occur very rapidly was shocking in itself.
In fact, he says in his book, this ought to be tested. My theory ought to be tested.
I don't have any idea about that dream. All I can say is that it's all about Charles Darwin, his life, and how he came up to his theory. And yes, I can do something about our assignment. Gonna make it right away. Thanks God. From now on, I'm gonna change and try harder in my studies. Who knows, I'm gonna be the next Charles Darwin.